Hello and welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Soccer Podcast. I am Adam Zdroik, joined by Ryan Belongia. We're talking Saturday's three-game slate at DraftKings. And Ryan, so the last show you said that you had limited success on Saturday's slates, but someone said in our Discord they followed your article exactly, and they finished with, I don't know, 120 points. They won pretty much every contest. Also, I guess speaking for myself, I mentioned Joao Pedro and Adam Ida last week. Can it get any better for us? And I guess, did you also have success just based off your article?
Oh man, yeah, you nailed it with Adam Ida especially. Oh man, I faded James Ward-Prowse. So I was looking very good. I mean, I had a king of the pitch ticket locked up with the games, in the 85th minute or whatever. I was gonna finish top 5 in the 222. But Ward-Prowse just can't stop scoring. Just can't stop scoring. Yeah, I've not been doing great on these Saturday slates, which I feel bad about because that's what we do the pod for. I mean, I've been doing very well on the Sunday slates. I've won quite a few of them recently, but no, not much success on Saturday yet. I'm glad that the people who read the article did well, because all the plays did well. I just didn't have Ward-Prowse. I just didn't have the right players in the right spots. But yeah, we'll try to do well again this week.
Yeah, so I'm wearing a hat just because Jordan's not here. So I know we have to have two hats on the show at all times. So I got the RotoWire hat here. But so Saturday slate, we have Manchester United and Leeds are pretty much this exact same favorite, almost the exact same implied goal total. Both are at home. And then Wolves are at Brentford. And I guess the main thing, so just putting together like a dummy lineup here, it's like the issue is like you kind of want to have like 5 defenders on your team just because of Ryan Fraser still listed as a defender. Like if he was a forward midfielder, that would be awesome. But there's 5 defenders you can consider using, and then we also have the cheap Chris Wood. So it's kind of like, I think I ended up going to Chris Wood last week. It didn't. I think he had 4 points or something. It just because he's so cheap, and I don't know. Looking at forward here, Rafinha 9,900, and then Chris Wood down at the bottom for cash games. Like, is that just going to be the most popular strategy, you think?
That's what I do, I think. Yeah, so we got just a quick little breakdown. Yeah, United and Leeds, you mentioned. Manchester United's minus 102 at home to West Ham. Leeds plus 103 at home to Newcastle. And then Brentford and Wolves. Wolves are plus 155 road favorites, and that game has one of the lower totals that you'll see. It's total right at 2 with juice on the over, but still. So yeah, starting at forward, it's tough not to like Rafinha. I mean, just the only other option up top really is Bowen. And away to Manchester United, not taking. He didn't take set pieces last game. He might have taken one actually. So yeah, that with Cresswell taking him, he's too expensive, and not a great matchup. So I think it's just really easy to play Rafinha. That was a big win for Leeds last week, away to West Ham, and now they got I'd say a really good matchup at home to Newcastle. Finally found some form. So yeah, I definitely want to jam Rafinha in. Before we get into it, I was going to ask you also, you have any betting takes? I know you host a betting podcast, and you guys have been nailing some bets recently. Is there anything that jumps out to you?
So yeah, I guess just Wolves being a favorite at Brentford is kind of it's kind of iffy. I like like Brentford actually plays well at home, and I'm kind of surprised that they're not huge favorites, but like Brentford. So they just played Manchester United midweek. I think they had two expected goals in the first half, I want to say, but they didn't score. Like they could have easily been up 1-0, 2-0 or something at half, and then of course Manchester United, they opened things up a little bit, got the first goal, and then went to the first three goals. But I still think Brentford, they have good home field advantage. And like maybe that's not like just in terms of DFS, probably maybe it's not the way to go. But I do like Leeds if we're speaking DFS here. I've been saying it all week. I think this is the first time all season they're going to have basically all five starting defenders just because of injuries, because of suspensions. So they won last week, but that was Diego Llorente was actually suspended. So he's back. And so they're going to have Dallas, Llorente, Strike, Ailing, Robin Koch. Like those five guys, they haven't been played together, I don't think, once this season, and they're the regular starting defenders. Sure, Adam Forshaw's out. He's been playing well. So they have some, maybe a question in central midfield. But at home against Newcastle, who probably were outplayed at home against Watford last week, they ended up with a 1-1 draw against them. I think Leeds, like if you want to attack a team in this spot, I think Leeds are a team to look at in the second half of the season, and this is a good spot for them just going against Newcastle, who people like Eddie Howe and such, but he hasn't really put in the positive results yet.
Okay, nice. Yeah, glad to hear that because I really like Leeds too. I mean, they played so bad for a lot of the season at the beginning of the season, coming off that win last week, getting healthy, home against Newcastle. It really seems like they should keep it going. Really seems like they should score a couple goals. So yeah, back to forward, just to sort of summarize why Rafinha is just like an easy play. Just look at the other two games. West Ham, the only cash viable forward is Bowen, but he's 9,500. We talked about him. Man United, they have no cash forwards. Ronaldo's down to 8K, which is cheaper than we've seen him in a while, but this isn't, the same Ronaldo. This isn't the same United. He got subbed last game. I wouldn't go there in cash. So that just leaves Wolves and Brentford. You're not going to pay that salary for Ivan Toney. Wolves, if Adama Traore started, you could consider him in cash, but he hasn't been, and we're not expecting him to. People played Jimenez last week, and Jimenez was a good play last week, but he's more expensive now. So yeah, it's just sort of like process by elimination. Rafinha, lock him in for cash. And then, Wood, like you mentioned at the start, he's the cheapest forward on the slate, but he has the second highest goal scoring odds behind Ronaldo. And, it's not quite the same Chris Wood that, we've gotten used to because he's on a new team now, a team that at least on paper and so far, is better attacking. So you'd figure that Wood should, theoretically score more goals. And the matchup against Leeds is decent too. They're not a team that keeps a lot of clean sheets, and they play an open style. So yeah, like just where do you go? You're going to need to save some money also to roster Rafinha. So not only are you going to need salary, but there's really not that much opportunity cost for cash. I don't know. Can you make an argument for anyone in the middle, I guess, or anyone in between them?
I mean, I do think Ronaldo, if he starts, I mean, he apparently has some kind of neck issue now that came out of nowhere, even though he complained about coming off early last game. But 8,000 best goal scoring odds. He's Ronaldo. They're home against West Ham, who are on and off defensively. I kind of think Elanga is going to get some looks if he starts again. Anthony Elanga, 6,400. Like he scored last match. He doesn't have much of a floor, but he's just cheaper and in a favored role for Manchester United. So I think he's been fairly popular in recent slates just because of how cheap he's been. Just looking at his price, 5,600 last match at Brentford. Now he's 64 home against West Ham. He'll get some looks. I think the Manchester United guys will get consideration in cash games just because of the matchup, really. And they're coming off the 3 goals and
Yeah.
2 goals against Aston Villa, so they'll probably get looks just because of that. But it's probably not what I would do in cash. Like if like Leeds have struggled defensively, but again, like as I said, now they're getting back all their guys they're getting back all their defenders from injuries, and I think that helped them. I mean, for the most part, I guess I don't want to say contain West Ham last match, but they did beat them, so that has to mean something. So I'm not sure how much of the ball Wood's going to get, because when Leeds are, they have all their guys. They're fairly press heavy. They like to have a lot of the ball. So look, if you don't go with that, I was kind of looking at someone like, I mean, it's kind of expensive just like for a second forward who doesn't have a floor, but Daniel James, like if you go with the Leeds route with, if you think Leeds are going to have success, like Daniel James at 6,900 is not terrible. I mean, for cash games, it's not great, but he played as a central forward last match, so that's at least something that you could say. Do you have any thoughts on that,
Um,
or too much
no,
Leeds
yeah,
and forward?
no. I actually agree. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, Chris Wood has no floor. I mean, he's completely goal dependent. Yeah, it's a decent price for Danny James. Playing central forward at home against Newcastle. Absolutely. And yeah, I would have brought up Elanga. I guess I was just looking at the lineup with Greenwood and Rashford in, but it would make sense for Elanga to started back-to-back games, and he's looked good, and he scored a nice goal on Wednesday. So yeah, I don't want to, I didn't mean to write off Man U. They do have the highest total on the slate. So playing a $6,400 forward, yeah, it seems fine. Danny James seems fine too. We'll see if the construction, what the construction favors, because you mentioned, at the start, we definitely want to play 3 defenders. I mean, there's 5, 6, even 7 defenders you could play. So I don't know if you'll be able to pay up at second forward, but you might be able to, depending on, on if there's a cheap midfielder.
Yeah, I think you will be able to once we get to midfielders. But is there any GPP strategy that really stands out? Like I guess you could go. You could fade Rafinha. You could go a couple Manchester United guys. Like if Ronaldo starts, go him. You could take that route. That maybe, and then I guess on the other side of that, you could go West Ham. Like it's not impossible to think West Ham could get a couple goals in this spot. Like it's not like Manchester United haven't been keeping too many clean sheets. So I guess those are the routes. I mean, Wolves are favored, but like how much of a GPP, like are those guys going to win you tournaments if Leeds or Manchester United score 3 goals? Probably not, but
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. So that probably not if Leeds or Man United score 3 goals, but they probably would if
if
those
they
teams
don't, yeah.
score 3 goals. So players from the game with the lowest total, I think, are more in play on these smaller slates, because you only need 2 games to bust, or even one game to bust, and just not even bust. Man United, they start forwards that get subbed. They haven't looked great. I do like your West Ham call, though. Yeah, Antonio, that's a good GPP option. I don't think anyone will play Bowen, for that salary. At least, not many people will play Bowen. So sure, you could do that. But yeah, like I said about the low total game, I don't mind taking a shot on Wolves or Brentford. They have a lot of playable guys. Jimenez still at 6K is a good price for someone on a team that's been playing well, who takes penalties. Even Podence is like a decent price now, and he's he's been playing more minutes than he had earlier in the season and than he did last season. So yeah, I don't mind taking a shot there. Basically, at least I guess my specific strategy, you can kind of, if you fade, some of the popular players, like let's just say I faded Man United or maybe just faded the Man United West Ham game. If it's going to be maybe the most popular, you're already different. So yeah, I'll just probably take some shot. I want to play Rafinha. Like I want to play the best chalk, and I think Rafinha is the best chalk. And I'll play, what defenders I think are the best, and then get different at forward. These smaller slates, leverage matters more. It's easier to get, I guess sometimes.
Yeah, in terms of roster build, it's easier to kind of stack or just go Wolves instead of Brentford if you want to go off the beaten path there and look at that match. Just because, so Ivan Toney he's not going to be very popular, needless to say. He's 8,600 for unclear reasons. I don't know why he's so expensive. Just because he scored last match, like a few matches ago he was 6,100, 6,800. Now he's 8,600 as an underdog. So like he's not going to be popular. But if like Brentford at home, the funny thing is in this prior matchup, Brentford won 2-0 at Wolves. Like Wolves, they're a super defensive team. Their attack is so. You don't know what you're going to get from a game to game basis. But if it's a little crazy, but you could do something like Tony and Mbuemo there up front. No one else is going to take that strategy. Like those guys, I think Tony took part in both goals in the last meeting, and Mbuemo scored the other one. Like it's not impossible. And Brentford at home, as I just said, like Brentford were the better team in the first half against Manchester United. So it's not impossible to think that they could again be the better team at portions of their match against Wolves. And if the ball goes a different way, they could get a couple goals. So it does have a low implied goal total, but it's still like something that could happen. Needless to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think, in terms of relative to their popularity, player forwards from that game are more likely to end up on a winning lineup, I guess, relatively to how often that they're played. Yeah, Brentford was dominating United for the first half of that game on Wednesday. For the first half of the first half, they were definitely better in the first half overall. But yeah, they created a lot of chances. They should have scored goals. And yeah, I agree with that point you said about the game will go in waves. Brentford will play well at times, have chances at times, and the same with Wolves. I like Wolves right now too. They've been playing really well. They're playing the best they have all season. So there could be goals in that game. It's worth targeting.
Yeah, speaking of just like recent history, so I'm just thinking there's a previous slate that we talked about where Wolves were kind of in a similar uh, situation and they were like slight favorites, but in like the first half they were just like getting dominated I can't remember the exact game it was, but I guess it doesn't matter. But it's just something, it could happen. Like it could happen where I don't know, Brentford have 10 corners in the first half where they're just going after it, that kind of thing. So it's not it's something that just to think about, I guess. But so
Right.
midfield, Bruno Fernandez, Jack Harrison, 8,700, 8,300. So I guess the thing is, if you go Chris Wood, you can probably get one of those guys. If you don't go Chris Wood, I don't know if you're gonna be able to afford them. Is that kind of the outlook here?
Yeah, I think that's the outlook, and that's part of the reason why. I don't mind going Chris Wood because I think Bruno's a decent cash play like on this slate. There's just not much else at midfield, and there's not many people with high floors, or not many players with high floors. Bruno's been in good form. 2 assists last game, 2 goals before that, splitting sets again. Seems like he sort of busted out of that mini slump he was in for a while. And 8,700. The game with West Ham, has the highest total, should have the most chances. So yeah, I think I don't know. I think you spend up for Bruno.
So Bruno, Rafinha, Wood, that's kind of the look. And then maybe in tournaments, you're looking at Harrison just because people will be looking at Fernandez. They won't be looking at Harrison. So the logical move is, okay, if they're going to do that, near the same
Yeah,
price, Jack
yeah, I
Harrison
think
coming off a hat trick. So
definitely Jack Harrison. That's a really good GPP play. It won't be nearly as popular, and yeah, because Bruno's there in the same range, and because Harrison's been in the 5Ks and in the 4Ks for like 2 months straight, and now he's 8,300. Yeah, and we like leads. So I mean, again, you can take chances on guys like that more in these smaller slates. It's just easier for every player to be optimal because you just don't need as much to go wrong. So yeah, I like taking a shot on Harrison.
yeah, I will say for Leeds. So last week and maybe the match before that, because Harrison, he seemed to be like a sub risk at times this season. But so for this game, they're getting back. I don't know how healthy they are, but they will be available. So Joe Gelhart, he started at forward this season. Tyler Roberts had a section where he was starting this season. Rodrigo is also healthy again. He came off the bench last match. So these guys are available in the attack, and if something's not working in the first half, Harrison seems to be one of the first guys to be subbed off. So I mean, even though I
Yeah,
just said he's a great GPP play,
no,
there
no,
is
no,
a chance, he
absolutely
could
though,
be set for 45.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely. In a vacuum, he's not a great play at 8,300 because of
Hmm.
what you just said. There's a lot of risk. He's pretty goal dependent or assist dependent, and he gets subbed quite often. So, that's what should keep his ownership low, which will make him a decent tournament play in the end.
Yeah. So if you don't go Chris Wood, we're going down here in the midfield list. There's not a ton to look at. So you got Pablo Fornal, 6,600. Juan Mata, he's probably going to score a couple. He's 6,400. Um, No, that's Lanzini 6,200. It kind of depends where he's playing because he recently played defensive midfield with Suchek and Noble out, but Suchek and Noble may be back, maybe starting for this game, and that would allow Lanzini to play an attacking role again. So that's something to keep an eye out for. So if you don't like any of those, you're still going down the list. I think there's maybe three guys you want to look at. Maybe if you want to include Trincao in that list at 4,600. So you got Matthias Jensen 5,800, Matthias Click 5,100, and then Moutinho at 5,000. And that seems to be like the range of usable options. I guess if you want to Jeanalt at 4,200. Maybe he's taken some set pieces recently, but that's still, whatever. Mostly a punt option there. Anything really stand out, or if
Um,
someone's looking at, they can't stand up if they're looking at two mid down here, like it's a strategy that could actually.
yeah, no, some of these plays are okay. So starting with Brentford, Matthias Jensen, 5,800. I think he took all the sets when he was on the pitch, and he took 5 shots. He had 2 incredible chances. He should have scored for sure. De Gea made some good stops with his feet. So there's some decent upside there. Like he was getting forward more than I'd seen. If he doesn't start, and I've seen some lineups where he's not in, yeah, I think you just play Janelt. He would be most likely to take the set pieces if Jensen doesn't start, and he's only 4,200. So yeah, I like that. Yeah, John Moutinho, don't love it, but he's fine as a last piece. The floor has, I don't know, it seems a little safer and a little higher, than it has been. He's also priced up a little bit because of it, but sure, I mean, you can do it. I prefer Click, definitely. Just we mentioned we want to target Leeds. He's played 90 minutes in consecutive games, and he's playing sort of an attacking role. So yeah, I like that, and a home matchup with Newcastle. And yeah, I like that you brought up Lanzini. He's viable if he plays in the number 10 role, and not if he plays deeper. So that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Click. I have to say Click. We talk about. I don't know. Is Moutinho in every slate we talk about? I don't know. It seems like he's always down there.
It seems like it.
Yeah. If Click's 5,100, Moutinho is 5,000. Like I prefer Click. Like you said, more. He's in the more attacking role. Maybe there would be a set piece or two. I mean, he had 7 shots assisted in the last home match against Burnley. Like that's a pretty big number there, and it's another pretty good matchup. But it's like this is a viable range. It just depends on like who you're gonna be picking, because a couple of these guys could be set for 3 points, and then the other two could be set for 15 points. Like it's it's a tricky situation because you're making some big decisions, and that's kind of what spending up at your second forward will leave you. So I mean, the main question is if you want to spend on Chris Wood. If you don't, then you'll probably be looking in this range. And yeah, I'm just scrolling down the midfield list. There's not really anything else that you can even look at down that's
Yeah, it's not
cheaper.
great. I
Like
mean,
Lewis Bate, who could start for Leeds. I think he's like a 19-year-old. He's in a defensive midfield position. Like he'll get you 2 points. Like that's not going to be. It's not going to be anything. Maybe Baptiste starts for Brentford, but same kind of deal. 3,200.
yeah.
It's like
If I'm looking at those guys, man, yeah, I just
you can't restart your lineup.
no, no, no. I'd rather, as sort of as gross as it sounds, I'd rather roster McTominay or even Souček for that price. At least you feel like they have a better chance at a goal, I guess. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
guess McTominay has been getting a little more forward, so that's
McTominay has been one of United's better players this season, especially recently.
yeah.
It's not saying too much because a lot of United players have struggled, but McTominay's looked good, and I don't know. He's whatever. It's not. I'm not touting McTominay, but if you're gonna play John Moutinho, I wouldn't play John Moutinho in tournaments, I guess is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
I'd take a shot on Jensen though. Just like I said, after seeing him take 5 shots, seeing him get forward, seeing him take all the sets, I don't
Right.
care that he's not going to play 90 minutes for GPPs as much. I'm hoping he gets on the score sheet in some way. Yeah.
I think you can sum up McTominay just by looking at like his last 3 matches. Home against the Wolves, he played 90 minutes and he had 0.5 points. Before that, he had 23.4 with a goal.
Mm-hmm.
So the other
Yeah.
thing is, so he was subbed off with a back injury Wednesday, and what he went down like twice. It seemed like he was in like impossible pain, and it sounds like he's fine, and like he's had a back issue for a couple months now. It seems like it's brewing up again. So that's something to where someone gives him an elbow to the back or something in the first half, and he needs to go out. Like that's back issues are like not something to mess around with. So it's if you're for some reason like you're like, okay, yeah, McTominay 3,700, let's do it. It's that's a thing to worry about. But so defender, the main position that we want to talk about here. I think it's almost a foregone conclusion. We want three defenders in our lineups just because of how many options there are. So eight Nori, the most expensive one, 6,300 going on the list. Trippier 6,000. You got Stuart Dallas 5,600. Alex Telles surprisingly cheap, similar to all the other Manchester United guys. He's 5,300. Cresswell, saw him last week take some set pieces. He's back 5,700. And Ryan Fraser, of course, 5,100. I guess you can keep going down. Ailing, 5,000. Kanosh is, he's a guy who has shown upside this season. He's 4,700. Like, you can keep going down this list, and it's like, why isn't Fraser a non defender, and why is there so many options? It's too hard to decide here.
Yeah, it's tough to decide for sure. For cash games, yeah, 5 or 6 of these guys you'd be comfortable with. I guess I'll try to rank them. I'd say, just because of price, maybe Telles is in there just because he's, 1,000 cheaper than 8 Nori and Trippier. All of these guys have set pieces. 8 Nori, I think I slightly prefer him over Trippier, just because he has more open play value playing on the left wing. Trippier took more of the corner kicks last week. I think he had 4 and Fraser had 3. So, expect Trippier to split sets going forward. But yeah, I think I prefer 8 Nori there. And then Ryan Fraser. Yeah, definitely for tournaments, Ryan Fraser, and for cash. I can't really pass that up. If he's playing in a front 3 and splitting sets, he's going to get subbed most likely, around 75 minutes, and these other guys are going to play 90. That's something to consider for cash, especially when you have other options. So I guess if you wanted to play Telles, Trippier, 8 Nori, sure, that's fine if you have the salary. I like the added upside though of Fraser in a front 3. So just because of price, probably Telles and Fraser. I'd start with one or both of those guys and play another one at flex. Yeah, I wanna play 3 of these guys even in tournaments. Get a nice floor. Get a 20-point head start on the people that play center backs, and then just try to find a couple goals.
Yeah, I keep coming back to these Leeds guys, but I kind of like Stuart. Like, if you need to,
yeah, definitely. Go
if you
ahead.
need to save money, like Stuart Dallas at 5,600, he's probably just as good as 8 Nuri, just in terms of just if you combine matchups with, they each split set pieces and get up the field a decent amount. Sure, Dallas, maybe he's not going to be playing a wing back, but I'm not sure that's going to matter as much in this game. So, and it seems like whenever Leeds play, a non-top 6 team or whatever, like Dallas is getting pretty close to 10 points. So, if you need to save 700, I kind of like him more than 8 Nuri.
Yeah, I think, well, for me, I like Dallas too, but it depends on where he lines up.
Well, are you going to he's probably going to play at fullback, which
I'm not sure.
which he did last match.
I feel like I like him the least when he plays in the back 4.
Okay.
No, Dallas pops up with quite a few goals, and well, I shouldn't say that. He only has 1 in the league this season, but at least he has. And he takes a lot of shots when he plays central midfield. So for me, that, yeah, he's fine. He's fine if he lines up at right back. I'm just still after some upside, so I'd like him more in the midfield. But still, that's a good call. Yeah, there's so many defenders you can play on this slate.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas's numbers are definitely better when he's higher up the field, but he's still. I mean, I guess
he's
his
still
numbers
splitting sets, and in a favored spot. So he's if he lined up at right back, I'd prefer him to Trippier. some people maybe, maybe he's not as safe, but like, if he's cheaper and in a better matchup, they're playing the exact same position. I don't know.
Yeah, so he started at left back 3 times this season. He got an assist in one. Home against Wolves, he had a floor of 12 points, but he only had 3 crosses in that match. His numbers look better as a right back than at left back. I don't know how much that means. I think he's going to start at left back just because Firpo's out, and Firpo started the last match, and I don't really think they have anyone else because then Ailing is, I believe, the preferred right back option for them. So they'll probably do what we have here on the screen if you're watching on YouTube: Ailing at right back, Dallas at left back. But I mean, it's Bielsa. There's a chance this could be, he goes with the 3-3-3-1 or something like that, or something weird. So that's something with like Leeds is obviously something you have to watch when lineups come out. But I don't know. I still like him, but I guess the numbers aren't as good as at left back for him. But again, it's only been 3 matches he started there, so it's
Yeah.
kind of a small sample size we're working with.
Yeah, I agree. The right back, left back thing is pretty small. It's a pretty small sample. Yeah, just keep an eye out for lineups. I just saw there's a chance he could line up in midfield. I saw a lineup that had this. No idea how you say his name. Hijeldi, 2,900 at left back, with Dallas in the midfield.
Who's putting out that lineup?
I believe it was Fantasy Football Scout.
All right. Well, I guess in that. All right. Well, in that situation, like Lewis Bate won't start, and then Dallas could move to the midfield. I guess that's the situation. Because Hijeldi came on for Firpo last match. My initial thought was because Llorente's not going to be suspended, he's going to go in the back line, and then Dallas, who is right back last match, he's going to move. So I guess we can wait. I think if Bates in the lineup, he's going to play midfield, which would mean Dallas is playing at the fullback, and then if Hijeldi's in, he's going to be left back, and then Dallas will be more forward. That'll be my guess. Like I said.
Yeah, it would be if Bate starts or not, but whatever.
This is it's a big conversation here in regards to the Leeds back line here, but
there's not that much to talk about on a 3-game slate, so might as well get into some other stuff.
Yeah. There's not even. I'm not even going to give a punt center back here. There's just no point. Like you need to set. You need these. We just talked about 10 defenders that you could have around 5,000. So there's no point in mentioning them. So goalkeeper, there's not a ton to mention here either. I guess if you think De Gea is 5,300, Meslier is 5,200. Neither of those guys stand out, but they're not that expensive, so it's not that crazy to think. But Jose Sa is the best clean sheet odds, and he is 4,900. If you're going Brentford, Jonas Losel is at 4,600. And
second week in a row, Sa has the best clean sheet odds and is only the third most expensive. So just in terms of value, by the odds, Sa is better point per dollar than De Gea and Meslier. And Jonas Losel, second best clean sheet odds, and he's down at 4,600. So I'll roster those guys, I think, over De Gea. Although one thing about De Gea,
he makes a lot of saves.
Take that back. That is the key with De Gea, because United are so bad and they give up so many good chances that seriously, De Gea has so many save opportunities. Let me see. 7 saves last game, 7 saves the game before that, 7 saves 2 games before that. Oh, wait. And 5. Okay. At least 5 saves in 5 out of the last 6 games. Not something you would expect from the goalkeeper of a supposed elite team. But that's not United. And if, this game should be back and forth, he's going to face shots. Meslier will too. So again, obviously it's goalkeeper. All these everyone's in play. Just correlate it with your lineup. But man, those save numbers for De Gea are hard to ignore.
Yeah, I I might end up doing that because I'm kind of torn between Jose Sa and Loso, just because. So Jose Sa, he has all these great matches. He's hit 13 points in 4 of his last 5. He had 9 saves against Southampton last match. James Ward-Prowse free kick goal away from a clean sheet. But before that, he had 2 saves at Manchester United and 1 save against Chelsea. He seems to be a little more unpredictable, and I don't know if I want to just take that route, just because
Yeah, you're
like
after the clean
we've
sheet
been,
if you're playing.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, only 2 saves against United because, again, Wolves just dominated United that game because that's just what's been happening. I don't know. Yeah.
yeah, De
Again,
Gea. Yeah, I don't like the clean sheet bet, but De Gea might be the move. The more we look at it, because like even if I've changed my mind on Brentford during this podcast, and which would put Losel in play, but I'm not like Wolves don't often get a ton of shots on target, so that's kind of taken away from actually considering Losel because you still want to, you're gonna bet on the clean sheet. You need the clean sheet in that situation, otherwise allows 1 goal, he could make only 1 save. So De Gea may be the move, which
yeah, I mean,
5,300. That's not terrible.
if I don't have West Ham players, I'll definitely consider De Gea if I can afford it. But usually target a clean sheet on these smaller slates. If just one keeper ends up with a clean sheet, they're usually going to be on the winning lineup. So that Brentford Wolves game, just to close it out, it has a very low total. So I mean, there's a reason those guys have the top clean sheet odds, and they're the third and fourth most expensive. But it's goalie.
Yep.
Play whoever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. Wolves did not have a shot on target in the prior meeting against them. Wolves were at home. They did not have a shot on target against Brentford last time they played. Obviously, that was like 4 months ago, but still something to consider. But Ryan, before we go here, I wanted to bring up, so you're in Crystal Palace. I want to bring up, so we got Crystal Palace corner, let's call it that. Crystal Palace are home against Liverpool on Sunday. Do you have any? I mean, obviously the slate's not out or anything. Do you have any, DFS considerations? So between these teams, so Salah and Mane not going to be playing. Maybe that doesn't matter. Liverpool have won last 4 meetings, 16-0. Are we thinking, another win, shutout win for Liverpool, or do you think your Crystal Palace squad's going to put up a better fight this time?
Yeah, good questions. This is a different Crystal Palace team now that they have better players, a better manager who plays a more attacking style that has led to more goals. But mostly, they just won't be popular against Liverpool, and it looks like it's going to be probably a 3-game slate on Sunday. Crystal Palace probably will be the least popular team. I'm just looking at the other teams on the slate. So from a game theory perspective, if Crystal Palace is cheap, I wouldn't mind playing some of those guys in GPPs. This is the time to get Liverpool. They don't have Mane and Salah. They're coming off, a nice big-ish win last night at Arsenal in the Carabao Cup, which was tough to watch. But yeah, I can see Palace scoring, and I'd assume their guys will be cheap. So I like it for tournaments.
Yeah, maybe Liverpool's a little too overconfident, or maybe they, had a little too many drinks. Was it last night, or and maybe that would be the case, and maybe they'll look at this
Right. No,
prior games against Crystal
exactly.
Palace.
Exactly. Crystal Palace is a tough place to play. Crystal Palace plays well at home. They can score.
There we go. All right, there's Crystal Palace corner for everyone. But that's all we got for Saturday's 3-game slate. Hope you learned a lot. Hopefully, we gave out some more goal scorers as last week. But Ryan, you can find him on Twitter at Ryan Belongia. I am at Zdroik. You can find us in the RotoWire Discord. If you have any questions, you can get free 10-day trial, no credit card required. If you want all of the RotoWire content, I've been loading up I got the lineups page up right now that has lineups, injuries, weather, odds, has all that stuff. Rotowire.com/soccer trial to get that. And make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Thumbs up anywhere you listen for podcasts. We got an international break coming up, so we will see everyone. We'll see Ryan in a couple weeks, and good luck to everyone. And hopefully, I don't know what's the hope for this week. Hopefully, Chris Wood doesn't score, or he does score. What are we hoping for?
Hopefully, Chris Wood scores this week.
All right.
All right, good. Thanks, Adam. Good luck, everybody.
All right, thanks.